Hi everyone, it's Elizabeth. Thanks so much for stopping by. It's time for the next Friday flip. So what I have here in front of me are these journals that I used, I think it's 2009 for several years. And I went through a period of time where I actually bound my own sketchbooks this way. And I think I mentioned this last week in that smaller journal that I showed, or the week before last, in that I would take two cardboard covers and put them on the outside, front and back. And then I would basically take one of these fabric swatches and use that as my spine. Okay, so there were three inserts, and all the inserts were watercolor paper folded in half and just attached to the spine with some pretty messy stitching. So I just wanted to quickly show what you'll be seeing coming up for the next several weeks. We're going to start with the oldest one of these, which I think is 2009, and work our way through a flip of the other ones. As you can see, sometimes I left the covers just plain black with something added, and other times I use wallpaper samples to actually cover do the covers as well. Here's another one of those. Here's the one in black, and here's one that uses wallpaper samples. So again, I went through this phase where these were the kinds of journals that I would use for my art journaling or my sketchbooks, and they were so easy to put together, so easy to make, and really inexpensive, right? Because almost everything in here was already in my stash. And I am actually, I love the bound book. I talked about that a couple of weeks ago as well. So, we'll see. Maybe we'll come back to this at some point. So again, we'll do the flip of this one today. Make sure I'm in frame there. Okay. So anytime you see beads added to the spine, I do those at the very end when the journal is complete. I don't like things on the spine when I'm actually working in a journal. It tends to get in the way. So we'll do a quick flip of this one. This is the cardboard cover with the fabric swatch as the spine, as I talked about earlier. And so 2009. It's kind of interesting to take a look at some of these older journals. Here's one of the things I mentioned last time in the last couple of weeks. I love these glue pages, I think is what they're called. There's something really fun about seeing all these non-related things on the same page. Now, this journal, I believe I was using Mod Podge. So this is back in the day when I was experimenting with all kinds of mixed media glues, and sometimes they stick. So as you can see here, these pages stuck a little bit before I went ahead and opened it. Usual classic pen and ink. There's a lot of marker work. There's some watercolors. It's interesting kind of how things have stayed the same and how things have moved. So this is one of the ones that I was doing a mixed media. It's got so many layers on this particular page, right? There's some journaling in the background. There's a lot of paint on top. These women are actually colored in using oil pastels. Like I said, this is a journal I remember specifically in this time frame playing with lots and lots of mixed media. These hands, I've mentioned them before. See, for some reason I just stopped doing that, and it's kind of fun to see those again. Using more collage. The borders that I've discussed already, I've not gotten out of the habit of using borders, but just it's kind of fun to take a look and see what's changed and what stayed the same. So these are really fun to go through, and it's just taking a look and seeing what I was experimenting with at a particular given time. So I must have been watching someone who inspired me to do this. Is actually these stamps are stamped onto paint samples. So kind of a fun thing, again, these glue pages. I just so love. I mean, you can spend time looking at these things, and each one of these was on my desk at a particular moment in time during the time I was working on this journal, right? So it's kind of a snapshot of the things that were on my desk. Another one of those stuffed animals that was lost that I found. I joined a local art journaling group, I think, when Meetup was first starting up in the area, and we spent some time playing together on other people's journals. And I remember specifically, again, playing on this journal at the time. It's got a lot of Mod Podge on top of it. So again, a little bit of on the sticky side, which also makes some of these stickers hard to stick down on the page. Sketching from life, playing with collage elements, kind of mixing collage elements a la Tisha Moore. taking a look and seeing, what it looks like when the background is plain versus the background has got more stuff in there. Watercolor paper that I believe I gessoed over. Again, like I said, a lot more samples. Another one of those pages, which is just kind of fun to see. So very similar to some of the work that I am doing today in some ways. I don't do as much collaging on a page, although having looked at these journals, I have started doing that again. Playing with pages of different sizes. So if you look at my more recent journals, this is something I do all the time now. But at the time, that was kind of a new concept for me. The idea of actually doing that in a page, just ripping things up. Using a half person. I actually did this just recently on a page last week, which is kind of an interesting thing to see that. Again, these borders. So when I talked about that art journaling group that I had attended, this is what we did. So basically everyone was given, I think it was 10 minutes per page. You did something on someone's journal and then you passed the journal left. And at the end of the circle, you ended up with your journal back in front of you. And this is what I ended up with. So this is kind of a collaboration between, I believe there were 8 people or so in the room or at the table at the time. So this is kind of fun, right? Just kind of capturing a moment in time. I would never have created a page like this on my own. This is just not my style. So it's kind of fun to see what things look like in your journal that aren't specifically your style. There's a bit of fabric over here too, which is kind of fun. Same thing, again, like I said, faces have gotten much better over time. So this is 2009. And hands, yeah, loved that. Drawing from life again, just taking a look and seeing how things have changed or stayed the same. And this ends again with one of those glue pages with just a bunch of stuff that was sitting on my desk. So that's the flip I have for you today. It's this particular one, which is the first journal of 2009. And it can't be actually, because this starts 11/15/2009. I know there's one earlier than that, which I will have to go find. Anyway, that's the journal I have for you, flipped I have for you today. If you have questions or comments, please let me know down below. If you're enjoying this series, please do let me know. It'd be interesting to see if I'm just talking to myself over here. If you have other journal flips of yours that you'd like me to go take a look at, I'd appreciate a link. Talk to you soon. Bye.